Welcome to the podcast. We Do Recover with Jared Miller, your host.
And I'm Dr. Terry Sellers, your co-host.
This is a podcast about recovery from addiction.
We want to talk about what successful recovery can look like.
Brought to you by Diamond Detox, Rise Up Supplements, and the Hilton Garden Inn.
Welcome, everybody. We are here on the podcast. I got a little loud and crazy. Episode number 162. We're calling it Freewheeling Foursome because we got 4 people total. Well, 4 guests. I don't know what we got in the studio.
We got a foursome, bro. We got a foursome going on.
Well, we got Sean Denovan
Yeah,
over there.
don't count me. I'm just the guy in the corner. Sorry.
We got Sean Denovan over there.
He's the cameraman.
So we got some stuff going on here today. So Mr. Denovan has had to wait for us because we were playing golf at Black Desert.
Trying to play.
A beautiful tract of golf.
That was attempting.
And I want to thank Jared for bringing me some Taco Bell tacos on the way home.
Jared stopped at Taco Bell.
They were
Thank
Black
you very
Desert
much.
tacos, bro.
Dude, there was like a bite taken out of one of them.
That was me. That was not Jared. That was me.
That was that dirty raccoon you were.
Oh my God. It's off the rails already. Well, anyway, episode number 162 is brought to you by, I'm going to turn it over to you, Jared.
Diamond Detox. So I feel like let's just do an organic one. Diamond Detox is really the first stop if you or your loved one needs some help, right? It's a medical detox facility. They specialize in taking care of you or your loved one. Reach out to them. It's a confidential phone call. The number is 385-988-5332, or their website is diamonddetox.com. And we happen to have the owner, Jordan Birmingham, in studio here with us. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Jordan.
Episode 162.
Jordan, would you go to Diamond Detox if you needed detox?
I would. Kind of created it how I'd want to do it. You know, after going through my experience, I was like, how would I want it?
Yeah.
Private rooms, TV in my room, a chef, compassionate staff. Mm-hmm. That's what I'd want.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I visited it last week, and it was amazing. It was full. And they had just
you guys are off the rails already. Can you tell us what else episode 162 is sponsored by?
We're back.
please?
We're back.
Rise Up Supplements. Rise Up Supplements is a nootropic line aimed at optimizing brain function and supporting mental health. They have 2 powerful blends. Mindful Mood helps decrease anxiety and enhance mood. Mind Shift helps increase focus and optimize brain function. Place your order today at riseupsups.com. That's RISEUPS.com. We had a little nootropic give out today on the golf course.
Can I just say really quick? I won't be off the rails too long. After the 3rd hole that I was struggling, took some of that mind shift.
Cheater.
Yeah.
So
That's
you
how they
felt
got juiced up.
That's how they won.
I've had
we were
I've
down
had a ton of
6.
these, and you can't tell the difference if you're taking anything or not.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that did it or not, but I did play better after I took it.
You were more focused.
Is
I
there
bet.
caffeine in?
Oh, yeah. There's some caffeine in there. There's a lot of good stuff. Yeah. The other voice you hear on the mic, Tyson Dixon.
Yep.
Renaissance Ranch, baby.
Okay.
Got
There
a
we
couple
go.
owners of some treatment facilities up in here, which
This
is pretty
big.
sweet.
This is big. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Tyson, just tell us a little bit about Renaissance Ranch.
A little bit. Renaissance Ranch is an all-men's addiction treatment program, unapologetically 12-step based. Really known for our band of brothers and our camaraderie and the fun that we have in recovery together. And I went through there myself 16 and a half years ago, and one thing led to another, and by God's grace, I'm blessed to be part of the ownership and the leadership of
That's beautiful.
it today, man. So
That's beautiful.
They got them up in Idaho, Salt Lake, down here in St.
yeah.
George. You guys are spread out pretty well. Yeah.
Renaissance Ranch.
Doing good things.
Our last 2
Place to
guests,
be.
Curtis and Keith, were both Renaissance guys.
yeah, we're studs.
And Renaissance Ranch has been
yeah.
around for quite some time now.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of good. So
Yep, the previous owner, H.R. Brown, still a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He works with us. He helps. He actually goes and visits each facility and connects with his staff still, and carrying the ranch.
you ever met a
mission.
guy that doesn't like H.R. Brown? Because I haven't. That's a well-respected dude there.
He's like a legend. I've only heard of him.
We
Often
call him the
meeting him
Godfather.
Yeah, he's kind of that.
Call him the Godfather.
Yeah, that's cool. Right. Well, welcome. We don't have a topic today, by the way, and I am going to be the the MC of this zoo. And
train wreck.
I'm going to try to keep some of you on track, but it's going to be like herding cats, as I said earlier. So let's. Anybody got anything they really want to talk about?
We were going to touch base on that.
What
We got to
happened?
talk about the golf.
What happened earlier?
Gotta talk
Holy
about the
mackerel.
golf.
I mean, let me just stage it out.
Okay.
Just
I'm
as
gonna
as
let you.
I
I'm
think
gonna let
it's
you
pretty
go.
awesome.
Paint the picture
It was
for
the
us.
not that
Jays
hard.
versus the
Hey,
T's.
need you to
Jays
talk,
versus the
talk
T's.
talk into the microphone so we can hear you.
The Jays
There
versus
you
the
go.
T's. I think Doc made that up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was
So-
Tyson and Terry versus Jordan and Jared.
And it was a beautiful day out there at Black Desert. And what happened is the T's went up 6 strokes in the first 5 holes. Okay.
He's a great narrator. So what happened?
This is what happened.
Beautiful.
And Doc was talking trash every
man.
hole,
Oh,
the
man.
first 9 holes.
I
It
lost my
continued.
mind talking trash.
Bad.
And
it was bad.
Karma came around.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yes,
then the
Karma did
back
come
9. Well, in one hole we made up 5 strokes. That was big on hole 7.
Yeah.
And then it was tied through 8, 9, 10. Then we went up 2. Then by the hole 5 we went up 6.
Ooh, man, from down 6 to up 6. That's
Yeah.
big.
buddy.
Doc was not as happy at that
But-
point.
But then what
The
happened?
wheels came off.
But
the
then what
wheels.
happened? Tyson showed up.
Tyson did show up,
Tyson
par the
showed
hole.
up to the golf course. And
Bailed us out of the 5
Dro-
triple bogeys.
drove it
Yeah.
home.
Last hole, you guys went up
No,
full-
you-
3 strokes. Well, we were up
Yeah.
4.
You were up 4.
But then you made up 3, and then we had hole 19
Yeah,
closest
which
to
is
the
a cool
pin.
little hole, right?
Little 60-yarder.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well,
These
6
two
yard
just
down.
dropped it right by the hole, so it ended up even.
Yeah. You
was
guys.
beautiful.
did
Let me
you-
tell you something. First
let-
of all,
wait. Let me
go
point
ahead.
this out. It's a 60-yard hole. Did either of you hit the green?
Oh,
on
yeah.
the 60-yard
Mine
hole.
did hit the green, and it bounced off the back.
And see, mine bounced off the back and then hit the green.
Jared hit
Yes.
the rocks and then went on the green.
So
Counts.
I just have one question for my partner over there, Jordan. How bad is your back hurting? Because you carried us all day. All day
I
you
feel
carried
great,
us.
actually.
I shot a 102. And to Jordan's credit,
He
man,
came
this
out.
guy's like the eternal optimist, right? Like I'd be so frustrated. And he's like, but the wind is just perfect and blowing through the trees, right? Like he's just
I never
this
said
positive
that.
guy
I never
the whole
said that,
time.
just so you know.
Yeah, you can't have a bad time when you golf with Jordan Birmingham, man. Positive guy.
I'm
Absolutely.
Tyson and I had a pretty good time in our cart. I'm telling you, it was fun. We had a good time. I had a good time talking trash and then getting it fed right back to me. So it was beautiful.
It was a beautiful day. Can I give us a recovery topic?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go.
I thought about something, if we think we can do it. Like maybe best and worst of our addiction times or best and worst of our sobriety recovery time. Because like you can have hard times in recovery.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah, man.
I don't know,
It's a
do we want to
great
go down that path?
It's a
I
great
love
one.
it. Love it.
Tyson.
Kick us off, Tyson.
Bad or good or ugly or what?
You get
all-
to pick it, baby.
I think their rule of this show is keep it more recovery based
Right.
Yes.
than the
We want it to be a message of hope, not a message of dope, but
yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I like the mission statement that you came out with in the beginning. That this is we want to show what successful recovery looks like.
Yeah.
It's what I'm all about. Love it. And yeah, in early recovery, I really wanted to know what it took. What does it really take to make it to last? Because when I first got here into the recovery thing, you know, they're reading this thing in the Alcoholics Anonymous books by a doctor, and that said that you know, and I was convinced I had an allergy of alcoholism and didn't know how I was going to be able to do it, and go to meetings. And one of my first meetings out of the ranch, I ran into Doc, and he said something I'll never forget. You probably don't remember this, probably 15 years ago. And he's picking up 8 years or 9 years or something. You're
I had 22 right
you're a chunky years ahead of me, but and he picked up and he said he said, well, here I am at a meeting. Yeah, I've got 8 years or whatever. He's like, one thing I always hear when people relapse is that they quit going to meetings, quit going to meetings, quit working with the sponsor. And he's like, so I made a decision early on. I'm going to keep going to meetings. And because I wanted more than anything to not go back to the filth, the yuck, the constant state of want and need that we find ourselves in addiction. And that was really powerful. I don't know if I've told you that.
Thank you.
That was cool. It was one of those bangers you hear, in early recovery that you hold on to, that stick, because that's true. You'll never hear someone.
I mean, we've opened to meetings and you heard the newcomer come in through the door who's been there before, but now he's a newcomer again, right? Mm-hmm. And the stories always start with, it always starts, well, I was doing fine, and then I stopped going to meetings. And like I had heard that so many times, I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't stop going to meetings. That seems like a bad idea for people. So thanks for saying that.
Oh,
That's cool.
But I mean, a lot of good times, and I love, let's talk about the tough times. How do you get through hard crap sober, like real hard crap, and I've in 2019 I went through some really hard stuff. Being in the position I'm in a leadership position, ownership position, and had an opportunity to partner with some different people in the industry that ended up not going the way that we had hoped, and things happen out of our control, and things start spiraling, and there's times. And it's interesting because I feel like we all have specific challenges and trials that a lot of times are just tailor-made to who we are and where we're at in life. Mm-hmm. And they're refining moments that define you. And you really find out who you are when things get tough. Mm-hmm. When things get tough, can we live to full purpose? And can we live in that God pocket, as we call it in recovery? Can we live in that place of acceptance and neutrality, and find a way through it? And no matter what challenge or obstacle or difficulty I've come across in my sobriety and my recovery, there's always, it seems, God always provides a way. Even when it seems like there is no way, always. And
well said.
And that I think we can all say that we've all experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing the right things for the right reasons pulls you out of it. Anyone else want to take a stab at it?
Well, go ahead, Jordan. You're the other guest.
Yeah.
Hold on. What was the criteria? Just because I kind of dorked out there for a minute.
Best and worst from our recovery, like the hardest thing during our recovery that we've gotten through.
Okay.
And then we'll maybe get to the best.
Yeah.
The best thing that you've had.
I like that.
Starting with worst sounds like there.
Like while in recovery.
Got
ya.
Yeah. And then, I might go back to try to define recovery and see what I was in. But after my treatment, I think it was probably 8 years in. I'd say it's a tie between, I was actually, one of the things was a year before starting Diamond Tree, I got addicted to Kratom. That was so mad.
That's getting a lot of people, man.
I was so bummed with myself. I'm like, starting a treatment center, but I had a nutritionist recommend it. So I was like, okay, right. And so I tested it out. I wanted to be able to help people get off of opioids. So I started testing it for pain relief and depression and energy, like caffeine. Anyways, so that was really tough to be able to, it was about a year of using it after I tested it. And I was like, I don't feel any withdrawal, any tolerance. Just use it as like a coffee or a tea. And then about 6, 7, 8 months in, my shipment didn't show up. And I feel those body aches on my spine. Just
you
like
get dope sick?
Yep.
Really?
And I was just like, oh, no. I was so mad at
Was
myself.
it pretty similar to like a full-blown opiate?
Very similar.
Huh.
Very similar. And that was really hard to accept that I was addicted to something and I'm about to open a treatment center.
Yeah, sure.
And I was just like, I can't.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, I was so sad and mad at the same time. And so luckily, sometimes it's, divine intervention. Like, I don't really think that I did that much. I tapered a little bit, tried to use a little bit of strategy, but like I had things happen where I had to be out of my home and out of my normal routine that kind of stopped me from using it when I normally would, and it just threw my habitual use off.
Got you.
And I tapered a little bit before that, and then one day I just was like, gosh, I don't think I need it as much, and so I just tapered and just stopped. And I was really, really lucky at that time. It was a tie between that and we had a house fire in 2020, but that was a tough
you
one.
just throw that out there like it's candy in the
Well,
streets.
because I wanted
Well,
to
it's
mention.
interesting that it's not as worse. It's not as bad as the emotional dissonant, spiritual disconnection.
House fire was easier
Yeah.
Wow.
than that.
Wow.
And the only reason I wanted to mention the house fire was just because of the coping strategy and being able to snuggle. I remember just snuggling I think he was 5 at the time. Just that face snuggle was like, that's all I needed to feel that contentment. I love when you said not having to want and need something. God, that's just exhausting.
You snuggled your little boy?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And you feel that face against your face, you're like, everything's okay.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
Nothing like that. Being there with your children, snuggling with them, man, feeling that love.
you guys got anything?
Go ahead, Doc.
I got children.
Mm-hmm.
I got children, and they've provided some of those moments for me, for sure. So this is really early in recovery. Once upon a time, this is back in 2005, I lost my license to practice medicine. And I've told this story before, some of you have heard it, but I called a family meeting because we were living in a 9,000 square foot home, and I'm driving a brand new Porsche, and those things are done. Like, I'd lost my license. We're not going to be able to live in that house anymore. And I called this family meeting, and I have 2 sons and a daughter. The daughter's in the middle. And got them all together, and I said, kids, your dad's addicted to drugs, and I've lost my license, and we're going to have to change how we live. We're going to move to a smaller house, and things are going to change. You're going to have to leave your friends and stuff. And my son was 8 at the time, and he looked at me and said, whew, I thought you were going to tell us he had cancer. And I thought, wow, what a viewpoint, because I am going to survive this. Like, I've got addiction, and it's going to be tough, but I'm going to survive this. If I have the choice to survive this thing, I don't have to die from this. And it was an incredibly touching moment for me to have that happen to me, because my son saw it way clearer than I saw it. And then that was a good moment for me. My bad moment was I had a daughter that I lost to this stupid disease. And she drank herself to death, and I'm sitting at home. She got really bad towards the end, and we were refusing to take her phone calls because she'd call and just rail on us when she was drunk. And so we weren't taking her phone calls, and I got a phone call Saturday night. I didn't answer it, and it rang again, and I didn't answer it, and it rang a third time. And I finally texted back, and I said, oh, no, the third time that it rang, it was the first 2 times was from her phone, and the third time was from her boyfriend. And so I texted him, and I said, is there some sort of emergency? And he texted back, Crystal's dead. And wow. I had told my wife a few weeks before, we need to get ready because she's not doing well. I didn't really expect it was going to happen, but, that happened. And honestly, I had her signed up to go to Diamond Tree the Monday after that Saturday night. She was all set to go and didn't make it past that. And I really didn't think about using. It didn't occur to me that would be a decent solution to me. Now, I had been sober for, this is only a couple of years ago, so I'd been sober for 20 years by that time, but it didn't really occur to me that was going to be a reason to use drugs or alcohol. In fact, quite the opposite. As you get longer and longer into recovery, you get more and more logical, and you realize that it can't be the answer to something that the problem that it's already created. It can't be the answer to that.
So what did you do to cope?
Cried. Grew closer to my wife. Hugged my kids.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you coming on the podcast. I don't know what episode it is. I wish I did, but I remember you coming on and talking about it, and I thought, good, at least he's talking about it. Like, we did a full episode on that, and it was very vulnerable, very raw, and man, I just, not that I didn't have a ton of respect for you before, but to come on and share that quick after that happened, and
How many of us just wanted to freaking hug him?
I know.
That's
You know,
nice.
hopefully you
That's nice
felt
of
a
you
lot
guys.
of energetic love from the
I
community.
did. We got so much support and love, and particularly from the recovery community. I had a bunch of people show up to the funeral that were, from my home group and that sort of stuff, and it was awesome. We had a lot of support.
Yeah.
Jared?
As unfortunate as death is always, and we've seen so much of it in recovery, you really appreciate life.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
the good times from it, and how often do people leave us? Many times they were on their way to treatment, or that was the plan.
Yeah, for sure.
And so if you're alive and you're listening to this, and you're struggling, there's a way out. Like,
Don't wait.
yeah, like
Just try.
Don't
Be
wait.
willing.
I want to point.
Gets freaking better. It
wanna-
gets freaking better.
I want to point something out about that too, because all too often, and remember I just talked about how logical you get the further you get into recovery. All too often, young people will go to the funeral of a best friend who has just overdosed and died, and their first response after the funeral is, I'm going to go get high. And I'm like, that is the least logical response I can possibly think of,
But at
right?
the time, it makes
Must
so
be a
much
drug
sense.
addict.
I just got
The
out of
unmanageability. They can't manage the
Right.
thoughts and emotions that they're dealing with. Yeah.
Right. I just got out of jail for heroin, and the day I get out, I'm gonna go use again. Like, how illogical is the disease? But recovery has got to be logical.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it won't work.
Well said. Well said.
Jared, you going to top that?
Yeah. Let's
was
see.
deep. That was good.
Toughest time in recovery, which I love this, right? Because it's we always talk about like, oh, the mess, and then life's great in recovery, and it's like some of that's true because we stop the self-inflicting stuff, right? But at the same time, like life still gets lifey sometimes, and I'm just rambling on because mine actually. Okay, so I kicked heroin back in 2014, right? And at the time, I was going through a divorce with my first wife, and I had 2 kids with her, and that dragged on for a long time. And I continued to have, I was working with the sponsor, and my sponsor just told me, just keep doing what you're supposed to do for the right reasons, and it's all going to work out, right? And unfortunately, the way it worked out wasn't the way I drew it up, wasn't the way I would have had it work out. So in 2019, it became pretty clear that my kids were moving to out of state, and my ex just wanted me to sign over my rights. She wanted the guy that she had married and they had a kid with to be the dad of all the kids. And man, I'm getting emotional talking about it. Maybe I haven't worked all the way through this, but
Well, you haven't. This has been tough.
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So in 2019, I decided to sign over my rights to my kids, so that they could go and they could, have somewhat of a normal life and just stop all the court battle stuff and custody stuff. And anyways, I almost used over it. Honestly, it was the saving grace of not having to do this by myself. I give all my credit with my clean time to other people because it's honestly, so I remember I was living down here in St. George. I just moved to St. George, and I jumped in my truck, and the only place that I knew to pick up was Salt Lake, so I was heading to Salt Lake. And I stopped in like Beaver or Fillmore, and I had the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other, if you will, right? And I thought, because I kept hearing in my head like, just call my sponsor, call John, right? And I'm like, I don't want to, right? And so anyways, eventually I'm like, I'm going to call him one time. If he answers, great. If not, then this is the universe telling me that I get a freebie today, right? I'm lapsing.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I stopped for gas, and I called him, and I remember him saying, and this is such a powerful moment for me. At the time, I had 5 years, and he said, Jared, if you think that going and picking up heroin and using is going to make you wake up tomorrow, and all the pain that you're feeling in this moment right now is going to be gone. I'll Venmo you $20. You can get high on me. But if you wake up tomorrow, if you truly believe, if you're going to wake up tomorrow and it's still going to be there and it's going to be worse and you're going to just continue this downward spiral, turn around and go back home. And that's what I did. Turned around, I went back home, and we're at the break.
Yes, we are.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
That was deep. I got chills a couple times.
Good
from that.
timing.
That's cool.
All right, we'll be right back after this short break and a message from our sponsor. This is episode 162. We Do Recover with Jared Miller.
You are listening to We Do Recover with Jared Miller and co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. We'll be right back after this short break with more of We Do Recover with Jared Miller. Brought to you by Diamond Detox, Rise Up Supplements, and the Hilton Garden Inn.
The team at Diamond Detox is compassionate, helpful, and trained to support every step of the healing journey. Your loved one's path to a healthier, happier life starts with a free and easy 20 to 30-minute assessment over the phone or a few questions submitted online on the Diamond Detox website. Assessments and admissions occur 7 days a week, depending on availability. To begin the path to recovery, visit diamonddetox.com or call 385-988-5332.
We welcome you back to We Do Recover with Jared Miller, co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. Brought to you by Diamond Detox, Rise Up Supplements, and the Hilton Garden Inn. And now with part 2 of our podcast, Jared Miller and Dr. Terry Sellers.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode number 162. We Do Recover with Jared Miller. We just came back from our break. We got a tongue lashing from our producer for whispering to each other and not talking into our mic. So I'm going to talk into my mic because I can't.
If you don't use the microphone, then they can't hear what you're saying. In the
What?
headphone, earphone things, they listen to.
What?
I'm sorry.
I feel
If
like
you
I'm
don't
making
talk
out
in-
with this mic right now, okay? And I feel like I'm yelling,
There you
okay?
go. No.
Let's just pretend it's a really good first date.
Now they can. Now they can do it. Episode 162, also brought to you by the Hilton Garden Inn. I'm waiting for Sean to figure out where the Hilton Garden Inn is. All right, the Hilton Garden Inn. Well, if you've ever been to southern Utah, you know. Look at the Hilton Garden Inn. It's flashing behind me. The Hilton Garden Inn is located in St. George, and it is lovely. It's always sunny and bright at the Hilton Garden Inn. They have great facilities. They have a beautiful pool. They have a beautiful hot tub. They have a weight room. They have staff that is unbelievably pleasant, and the rooms are huge, which I love. The rooms are just gigantic. So if you happen to be traveling through southern Utah, give them a quick Google search. Just type in Hilton Garden Inn, St. George, and they will take good care of you, and they take good care of us. So
What
we
I like
appreciate it.
about that location is it's in the best location.
Yeah, right.
For a hotel in St. George. It seems like you've
Right
got
by
all,
the conference center if you're coming down for a conference.
all the food
and-
stuff right there. You just
and-
walk. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
Great spot.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
That is good. All right. Well, Jared, we just kind of ended your story abruptly because we ran right up into the break.
no, it's
but
Yeah, so that was definitely tough. And then in 2022, my current wife, me and Mandy, she got pregnant, was for 10 weeks pregnant, and she had a miscarriage, and that was also really, really hard. And again, every time I go through the hard stuff, I kind of feel like I use the fellowship, right? Whether it's a sponsor, whether it's going to a meeting, because I remember that week I really wanted to be with my wife to make sure she was okay, but then there was a particular meeting that I knew that I needed to get to, and I went to the meeting, and I just snot cried, right? Just told people where I was at. And I remember I got up after I shared and I walked out because I had to use the bathroom, and I think one of my Crystal, she works for USARA down here, she got up and followed me out, and she's like, "You're not leaving." And I'm like, "I wasn't leaving. I was just gonna go to the bathroom." And she gave me a big hug, and she said, "You can be as miserable or as okay as you need to be right now." And so, like, every time I've gone through something really hard, I feel like, my higher power puts people in my path to help board me up because I'm wobbly on my own, if that makes sense. But I also have to be open to it and reach out for it. Like, I don't put that on other people. But when I do reach out, I've always just had people that, like, will move mountains or just say the right thing. So I think that's my higher power.
I think important to that story, maybe some people don't know. If they've listened to the podcast, they might. But this was not a normal pregnancy, though. This was a pregnancy you guys struggled to get pregnant and
Yeah.
went through infertility treatments and a lot of stuff.
2 rounds of IVF.
Yeah. I mean, it was a struggle, and then you got pregnant. And it's like
Hallelujah.
this giant
The roller
high,
coaster.
right? And
Life
then all
on
of a
life's
sudden,
terms.
and then a miscarriage, which is the
Yeah.
exact opposite of that giant high.
You know what I love about all those stories?
What's that?
It comes back to connection, right? When you're talking about the AA rooms, when you're talking about people reaching out, using the sponsor, you got to be willing to go. You got to be willing to call. You got to do your part. But when you use people, and like we said, I think God puts people in our past to help us. I think John needs a little shout out, man. I've heard his name in so many really powerful stories, right? You're talking about John Red, right? Or you're talking about different John?
Different John.
Which John does he need a shout out?
I don't know how he'd feel about that because he's like an anonymous guy.
Let's call him John.
But-
Well, then don't.
Yeah.
I
Then
don't. Listen, I don't have any problem shouting out John Red. Let's do it.
I just
John
heard-
Red,
John
good
Red's
dude.
I heard a
legend.
story about John Red just last week. Just another good story, and he deserves a shout out to me because
Wait,
he's just doing
Where
great.
did John go to treatment at?
Oh, the ranch, baby. Yeah, there's a shout out for the ranch.
There you go.
No, John, no. You guys, the ranch really does such good work,
They do
though.
good
When there's tough cases, if they'll just do the program and stick it out, they've got some great accountability and a great program. The brotherhood is real. The camaraderie is real. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
We're blessed to do it. We love it, dude.
It is, do you mind if I say it's a faith-based treatment center. And, the big book says that you and I know this, a lot of people, this isn't big book. I'm going to get to the big book in a second. A lot of people fall away from their religion when they start using drugs and alcohol because it's hard to make a connection with God when you're high. It's just impossible to do.
Impossible.
And then you stop getting high. And also, most of us know that a connection to a higher power is part of the thing that gets you on the high, right?
Grounded.
And so the big book says most people will return to the religion of their childhood. And, most people around here grew up in a certain religion. And that's kind of, you don't really push a certain religion per se, but it's faith-based and it's cool and it's interesting.
Yeah, we talk about Jesus Christ.
Sure.
We talk about Buddha. We talk about the Eastern philosophies. We talk about the native philosophies.
Cool.
Mother Earth, the universe. It's culturally we take on the same perspective. I think is AA, which is as long as you're not your higher power,
There you
right?
go,
Like
right?
we've been relying on ourselves and utterly been failing by relying only on ourselves. And so it's mainly we really want people to come to identify a power greater than themselves that makes sense to them. And and a lot of people that come to the ranch, they have had significant spiritual experiences, religious experiences, real things they know that are true. You talk about living in cognitive dissonance. That's when your actions aren't lining up with your values and your self-worth gets deteriorated. And there's so much that comes from that. But that's, we're not the only ones, certainly, that do what we do. There's a lot of really good people. I love this freaking industry. It's so fun to be in because, I really believe that God is behind our industry. And if you look at programs, the companies that struggle and have problems, it's because they put money over people. Ultimately, they make
Thank you.
Amen to
making
that.
business decisions.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, not understanding what's going on the ground, and so,
Jared, do you want to talk about putting money? Never mind. I'm sorry.
Not too soon.
Never mind.
Too soon. But you know what, though? The thing I appreciate about this, and the thing I think Renaissance and other facilities, to be fair, do really well, is I truly believe, and I would tell my clients this when I worked with them, you've got to connect with human beings before you can connect with the higher power, right? Like, that's why group therapy is so effective. And I think my higher power works through human beings, through other people,
definitely.
Example given the 2 stories that I gave, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so if you're out there and all that stuff isn't appealing to you, okay, we'll start off just being humanistic. Like, connect with your peers, connect with people that are trying to do the same thing you're doing, right? There's support in numbers.
Yep. I used to tell people in treatment in our groups, just connect to something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure.
Like you mentioned too, it could be universe, could be family, how we both used family or children when we were coping. Connect with them, connect with AA, connect with something bigger than yourself. You know,
Again, it's always been my definition of higher power, and I didn't make this up. Somebody taught this to me, but anything that knows more about recovery than yourself. And your motorcycle and your coffee cup don't know anything about recovery, and so that can't be your higher power.
No countsies.
It does have to be right. It does have to be something or someone that knows more about recovery than you. If it's a group of recovering alcoholics, that's totally fine.
Speaking of that, John Red, I cut you off before you had the shout out.
I mean, we did it
for Johnny.
He got a shout out right there.
Yeah,
He's done
good
really
dude.
great things for people, and there's a lot of people that do. But I just had the moment when I heard that name. I was like, someone else said something recently that was like, man, he can go deep with you, and he can pull you out, and he can really help for sure. So, do we have time to get to our best part now?
Absolutely. And my John is like a hardcore AA guy. And so he doesn't believe in the podcasting thing because it's like
More anonymous.
Yeah.
keeping
So
it.
I've asked him to come on and he's like, no, that's not my style. And I respect that.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
he's old school.
For sure. Who's going to start us off on the best?
I think
part
I
of
did
recovery?
my best already.
You kind of did do both.
I did both. You asked both. I did both.
Let's kick it to Dixon. It's been a minute since Dixon's had the mic.
But wait, I'm going to say one. It's going to be really quick. Earlier today, I played golf with 3 really cool dudes. No, I'm not talking about winning or losing. I'm saying that was a high to me. Just getting out there
awesome.
on a beautiful golf course with 3 beautiful dudes and getting to enjoy that camaraderie. That's recovery right there.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks
Well
for that.
said. Thanks, Dixon,
said.
for picking up that tab, too.
Oh man, we got to mention
That deserves a shout out.
He picked up a
This-
giant tab.
this
That was
guy's got
really
it.
generous. Holy mackerel!
You know, that's the stuff you
Generosity.
take with
That was
you when you die. You know, how I look at stuff is like, you know, in 5 years from now, am I going to look back and go, I wish I didn't spend that $1,500?
Yeah.
You know, no. Like it was
right.
pretty epic. It's something, you know,
was
you
epic.
hit once a year or whatever. Like
Right.
it's excessive, but it's, if you're into golf, and we are, even though, you know, some of us are better than others, everyone else better than me. It's fun.
And
you know,
karma is real, and you're going to be maybe doing something here with this too. So I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
if it's good, noteworthy, praiseworthy, I seek after these
There
things.
we go.
We're gonna send it. You
There
know,
we
While you're hot on that mic, Dixon, what's your best time in recovery?
bro. I have a hard time, you know, in the limelight and stuff, and because you see people on Facebook, and you know, like they like my life's great, this and that, and it's like, no, it's not that great for you, right? Or that's good. Like I'm always happy for people, but we have the tendency in society to put on a fake face, you know, a lot of times. But and so I have a hard time because my life's like, I'm so freaking blessed. Like my life is truly extraordinary. Like I have a hard time. I was thinking about that. Like, what is the best time? You know, it's like today, right? Or just, I think
Baseball game just last. I mean, things like that, right?
dude. Yeah, I mean,
How great of a shot did he have after he told that story? The
Happy
happy thoughts.
thoughts.
Then he
Oh, yeah,
crushes a
That was
drive.
the best shot all day.
thought.
Yeah.
Peter
Pixie
Pan
dot.
shot.
Yeah, no, but like, I always had dreamed coaching my boys and stuff, and being there for my kids, and yeah, dude, like it was the first baseball game yesterday, and first year of coach pitch with my son, and they rallied, they got a ton of runs, kind of like today, and the other team came back within 1 run, and it was in the last inning, and the kid was running in, and our catcher barely made the out. He caught the ball, and at this age, it's hard to throw and catch the ball accurately, and let alone turn around and tag the kid, and got him right before, and yeah, everyone, you know, cheered, and it was
crazy.
awesome.
I can
Yeah.
feel that elation, right? And that's hard to get. You don't get that when you're using. You can't
but
get that good.
You almost don't get that with your own self, though, either. Like,
Yeah.
when it's your
gotta
kids,
be-
it's
yeah.
even bigger, right?
So you got that. That's recovery that gave you that.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
Well, this last couple of days, like my wife and I, her sister came down and watched our kids. We got to spend a couple days, just the two of us, and
There you go.
doing what we like to do, and going around and spending time. And We last month we had our staff retreat down here we had all our Idaho staff down here. Got to go to some great restaurants and go golfing and have fun. And then, our a few weeks before that, we did our Big Book retreat in Lava Hot Springs. And when you have 150 dudes in one room coming together on the solution, the power that in that, it's a different type of elation. It's a different type of power and love. So being a part of something bigger than myself is, in doing my best to live in that. Every day is just, when you come from 20 years ago in and out of jail, 120-pound drug addict like I was, coming off of heroin and cocaine in jail, without a pillow, without food, starving and like not sleeping for 3 weeks straight, and being able to feel that misery. And like you said, get out of jail and like, I think I can get high one more time.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
It's a dumb thought.
But being that we've lived in the bottom, I think we're blessed because we really get to fully embrace the blessings that come through recovery and the good things in life. It takes work and it's not easy for sure. But we have the tools today.
Think about that.
Love that.
Think about that. Without this struggle, we wouldn't have appreciate the things we have today quite as much, right? We've struggled. Mm-hmm. We have struggled through some stuff where we almost didn't survive many times. And, that's a real struggle, and that really gives people an appreciation for the good things that they have today. If you never struggled, you're not going to appreciate it quite as much.
Well said.
So we got that gift right there.
The misery.
Jordan, best time in recovery?
I've had a few minutes to think. It's been fun to really think about, and really almost all of it came to family, almost all of it. But, the birth of my child would have never happened without recovery. And that is a special, special thing. And then, being able to, start a treatment center, the same place that I went to treatment, but like creating my own program definitely would have never happened. And that was like another birth, of a child in a way.
Sure.
And that was beautiful. And then being able to see people recover in your treatment center is so beautiful. So all those things, but different vacations with the family. I had kind of on a family kick for sure right now because I had the experience with this masterminds group I'm in, where the lead master took us through a meditation where we really went deep into our own death and like got to feel it and where do we lose our essence and all these things, and then come back to what do we feel like we wish would have done more and all those experiences. Sure. And man, family's a big part of it. Like, did you spend enough time? Did you do what you wanted to do? And did you help enough people? And so there was like 5 different things of what's this death experience teaching me. And then you go back again. And then what's a more higher spiritual thing that you learn from that experience? And it was a powerful, powerful thing. So
that's awesome.
A lot of beautiful things in recovery.
Yeah. Hello, Doc. Go ahead.
No,
You did?
I've done mine. I've talked too much already. You guys keep talking. I did my best. My best was my son telling me I didn't have cancer and I wasn't going to die.
Okay, got you.
And my worst was my daughter dying. Yeah, I'm done.
Got
With
you.
So cool. We do recover, Jared. What did you get to do by recovering?
I would say the thing that really takes a cake for me, I was one of these guys that, I'm going to, I basically made a vow never to get married again just because of how ugly and nasty my divorce was. And I was like, I'm never, right? You touch that hot plate, you get burned. You don't want to touch it again. And I would say the highlight of my recovery was I got married on a lake, super pretty, super cool. And to watch Mandy, my wife, come walking down with her dad was just the coolest moment. I felt, my dad with me. I felt my brother with me. I had the rest of my family with me. And, you know, to go from like all the stuff that I had been through, luckily, thankful just to even be alive, right? To now, like, that really kind of, I felt like was the trailhead of the journey that I've been on since. I felt like this is a new chapter. Like, you know, I had been clean for a significant amount of time, but I hadn't like allowed myself to emotionally connect with somebody in a really long time. And so I would say getting remarried was amazing. Like I'm an emotional guy. They started playing music and she started walking down and I was just bawling, dude. I was done, right? Like it was cool, man.
Yeah, and look what came from that. Like, you've got a great wife. I mean,
Yeah.
she's amazing.
Yeah.
I think you missed the point because it wasn't marriage you didn't want to do again. It was divorce you didn't want to do again. So you made the wrong vow there. Vow to never get divorced again because that's
I like
the
that.
thing right
I
there.
like that. I like
Marriage can be unbelievably amazing, and it can be like, look at these clowns in this studio. And look
we all have beautiful,
and look
amazing
who
wives.
we're married to. Like, it's ridiculous how lucky we are.
It's true.
Like, who would put up with me for 43 years?
20.
Wow, 20. 43 years somebody's put up with me.
Yeah.
And, of course, she's the most patient person in the world.
I feel like all this stuff, though, the common theme, whether it's going through hard times or the most beautiful times, is the interpersonal relationships.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
You know, like that's so important. So
That's big.
yeah,
All right,
like
I got a question that's off
Love it.
off the beaten
Squirrels.
path there.
squirrel.
No, it's not so much a squirrel, because
Get
I
it,
thought about
squirrel.
this long before. We have two guys in studio who are owners of treatment centers. One's a detox, one's a residential treatment center.
Well, full
What-
spectrum of care.
What
but
are the biggest pains as an owner? What do you hate most about being an owner?
what's the challenge?
Spotlight sometimes is I don't do well with being on a pedestal or thinking that I'm different or better or smarter or anything like that. I just want to be. That's why the tagline for me, people helping people, which sometimes people throw that back in my face too. That's who I am. That's how I'll die. But that's how I want to be. Like, I'm just a person trying to help another person, and that's what I want our staff to be. We're just people. We're not better than our clients or patients. We're just people helping people. So I don't like to be up on the pedestal. People, and you do have to be careful, right? I've had to mature quite a bit. I've made plenty of mistakes, and but yeah, I do have to be more careful. You can't just BS the same way you'd BS. You can't be friendly like you would be friendly sometimes. You have to watch your P's and Q's more. Which that's probably the hardest for me, is to be able to walk that line of still being authentic and having fun, talking the way we talk on the golf course, but you get into staff things and you get into professional settings and you got to be a little different, and that's probably the hardest thing. I mean, financially, the first 3 years were just crazy through COVID for us. I mean, I don't know how many treatment centers started from scratch in the last decade and survived through COVID.
That's fair.
It took a lot of people out.
Yeah, for sure.
It was tough.
Yeah.
So
Almost caught us.
What do you? What's your least favorite thing about being an owner?
No, I relate with that a lot. I try to be very intentional about not perceiving myself as better than, and not, because it seemed like everybody, they treat you different. They put you on this pedestal and different things, and so I have to do different things to pull myself back down and make fun of myself, and but it's there's so many more positive and beautiful things I think that come from being that, but in a leadership position it's difficult that if you haven't owned your own business and run your own business, you just don't know what the stress is like and what the risk is like and what that really feels like, and in a lot of different elements to an extent, but so that's probably the most challenging thing is people not understanding some critical things that need to happen in the business from a business perspective, because we do have to stay profitable to be able to help people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's an interesting point.
So, I mean, really, like dealing with insurances companies and all that
Thank you.
crap.
Thank you. I was trying to put insurance companies up on a tee so you guys could take a swing at them. And
Well, I feel bad for them too, though, because and
Please
Medicaid,
don't.
but like,
please don't. Their job is to pay for as little as humanly possible.
Dude, I get it. The problem is they've got they don't have the ability to identify if programs are really effective or not for the most part. There's and that's where our industry is going to be going in the future, is value-based care, and facilities are going to be compensated if they're effective.
Love that.
And that's where it'll go. That's where it has to go, I think, to be sustainable for the economy and everything like that. But I like what you said, Jordan. I mean, that's the one thing that I think I've done well. One thing I heard early on in business, someone in a very prominent position, Warren Buffett or something like that, he said, all I do is just hire people that are smarter than me.
100%.
And
That's a very Warren
that's what
Buffett
I'm proud
lecture.
of, is some of my closest friends and people that have come to the ranch, or that I've been to and brought to the ranch. I'm surrounded by people that are smarter than me, that are more tactful and more skillful, more passionate even, and it's been cool.
This has been fun, guys.
Yeah. Hey,
Hey.
we're about out of time. Go ahead. Yeah, we are out of time. Tyson Dixon, Renaissance Ranch, Jordan Birmingham, Diamond Detox. I'm your co-host, Dr. Terry Sellers.
Your host, Jared Miller. Thank you guys for listening. Can I just throw this out there? If you're struggling or a loved one struggling,
you for
please
joining
reach
us.
out to us.
With Jared Miller.
Help us spread our message of hope. Like, comment, and share.
If you have any topics or ideas for future shows, please share that on our Facebook page.
That Facebook page is We Do Recover with Jared Miller. If you or a loved one needs help, please reach out to us. Again, thank you for listening.
Brought to you by Diamond Detox, Rise Up Supplements, and the Hilton Garden Inn. This has been a production from A Podcast Studio.